Okay, Shabbat Shalom everyone, and welcome to Temple Beth Shalom. I'm glad to see all of you here. Everyone in the sanctuary is safe distanced in their pods. Everyone has masks on, and appreciate you all keeping your masks on and not shifting up your pods as we go about the service today. I'm Robert Davis. I'm one of the rabbis here at the temple. This is Cantor Lisa Siegel, and today we are joyfully here to celebrate Parker becoming bar mitzvah. So we're going to sing a little bit, and we're going to pray a little bit, and join in, and let's celebrate Shabbat.
All right, as soon as we get this on. Hold on. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la.
Welcome again to Temple Beth Shalom. We're glad that all of you can be here on this very special day of Parker becoming bar mitzvah. Parker is not only going to, is that me?
Not sure. I think my mic is really loud.
Parker is not only going to be reading from the Torah and doing Haftarah today, but he's going to be leading us in prayer. And so it is my pleasure to invite up Pele Danielle to lead us in prayer on this beautiful Shabbat afternoon of his becoming bar mitzvah.
We chant the Ashrei responsively. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha od yehalelucha sela.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav.
Tehillah leDavid aronimcha Elohai hamelech va'avarcha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarchecha va'ala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umulal me'od veligdulato en cheker.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha ugvurotecha yahidu.
Hadar kevod hodecha v'divrei nifleotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz neroitecha yomeru ugdulatecha asaprena.
Zecharavtu v'chayabiu v'tzidkatecha yeranenu.
Chanun berachum Adonai, erech hapayim ugdol chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kevod malchutecha yomeru, ugvuratecha yedaberu.
Lehodia lifnei ha'adam gevurotav, uchvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor vador.
Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakafufim.
Einei chol elecha yesaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, umaspia lechocha haratzon.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, v'chasid bechol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lechol korav, lechol asher yikra'uhu ve'emet.
Ritzon yere'av ya'aseh, ve'et shavatam yishma ve'yoshi'em.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol harshayim yashmid.
Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, bivarech kol basa shem kocho le'olam va'ed.
Va'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Please turn to page 224 for the Chatzid Kaddish.
I'm gonna have you come here. Okay. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalmad yifrach yiratei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagala, uv'izmahan kadri v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam u'lo mehamaya yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitroma v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekodesha berichu, le'la min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amihiran be'alma v'yimeru. Amen.
Pele Danielle Parker, in just a few moments your parents are going to present this beautiful talit to you. It has the blessing on it and the beautiful woven fabric matching your kippah, and it's really magnificent, it's beautiful, but what makes this talit really special, not just the fabric and the fact that it's your bar mitzvah, but these fringes right here, the tzitzit. Each one of these is a reminder of the mitzvot, of the commandments, of those imperatives in our life. And the challenge in our world is to remember. We know the difference between good and bad and right and wrong, but we're always challenged to remember that at each moment in our lives. And it is easy when you wear the talit to remember. It's a uniform. It helps us to remember what we're supposed to do. But the real challenge is when you're not wearing the talit. How do you live? How do you function? Do you live up to the imperatives, to those commandments, to the things you're supposed to do in your life that are right? And so now, to present your talit to you, I invite your parents to come on up. Here you go, switch. There you go. I'm going to hold this here. I'm going to ask you now to say the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kedachanu B'mitzvotah V'tivanu Hilihit Atef Batzitzit.
Amen.
Amen.
Now I'm going to ask you to place the talit over your son's shoulders. And as you do that, I'm going to ask you to join together to stand around him and face our congregation as we pray the Shekianu, counting our blessings that we've all reached this moment, this time, and this season.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Parker, the first thing I want to tell you is that I'm extremely proud of how hard you worked to get to this service. A lot of kids would blow this off. They would just do the bare minimum to get by, but you did what you always do. You put your heart into it, you tried your hardest. You took pride in what you did and you enjoyed the process, and I'm so proud of you for that. Now, your Torah portion today is about Jacob, and as you know, Jacob had 12 sons, and the 12 tribes of Israel, it is said, they came from those 12 sons, and they're named for those 12 sons. And I read a few articles about the 12 tribes of Israel, and one of the articles that I read focused on the specific characteristics that each of the tribes represented. And one of the articles ended with a question: what tribe are you from? And for your bar mitzvah, I thought I would look at those characteristics and try to figure out, what tribe did you come from? So the most likely one in my view was the tribe of Reuben. And I say that because Reuben was the firstborn, like you, and Reuben stands for positive and powerful energy. And everybody who knows you knows that you have positive and powerful energy. When you were in the 5th grade, you were selected to participate in a county-wide guitar recital. And of all the kids in that recital, the music instructor chose you to energize an entire auditorium at Miami High, probably the biggest auditorium in all of Dade County. You stood up in the middle of a song, like you were told to do. You ran up and down the stage and waved your arms in the air, and everybody in that crowd got up and cheered for you, and for the rest of the people that were there. Now, in addition to that, when you went to sleepaway camp, you came back here from your first year, and you won Lower Camper of the Year award, and we were very proud. And I think you won that because you have great energy. But what I do know is that when you came back from your 2nd year of camp, and you told us that you were named the color war captain, that the real reason that you were chosen for that role was because of your energy. Parker, you can motivate people, get them excited, and get them to do their best, and it's a great quality. Now, other people may think that you don't come from the tribe of Reuben, but maybe you come from the tribe of Gad. And the reason is that Gad is known as a fierce and confident competitor. And anybody who has seen you play sports knows that you are a competitor and a warrior. When you were 10 years old, you were on the 13U baseball team. And the kids on that team, on the other team, I should say, that you played against, were so big that some of us joked around that they probably drove themselves to play baseball there. Nevertheless, Parker, the baseball coach knew you were confident. He chose you to bat first because he knew you wouldn't back away from any pitch, and he knew your confidence would set the tone for the team. And it did. Your team won the championship. And last year, at middle school, you were one of only 3 kids in 6th grade to make the middle school basketball team. And one of your games was an away game. It was at Riviera Prep School, and it went into overtime. And you had the confidence to take a three-point shot in that overtime period, and you made it, and it turned out to be the game winner. You were definitely a warrior, and I know that if Eric Reed were out announcing that game, he would have called you a road warrior. Now, Parker, some people may think you come from the tribe of Issachar. Issachar is known for his intelligence, and there is no doubt that you are extremely smart. You always get A's in your classes at school, but not only that, you win awards for being the most intelligent, the most knowledgeable, and of course the most inquisitive. But not only that, when you were in elementary school, you were the president of your chess club, and that's also a scholarly task. And you're taking chess class now, and you're one of the top students of your class. Now, when I was giving this speech and Mom was looking at me, she said, "Are you really going to go through all 12 tribes and compare them to Parker?" I would like to, and I know that Nana would love to hear all of that and all the compliments, but I'm going to leave it at this. I don't know what tribe you come from. Jacob had his sons thousands of years ago. But what I do know is that with your energy, confidence, and intelligence, the sky's the limit, and you're going to go far in life. Now, there's one last thing I want to tell you. More important than any of these individual characteristics or any of your awards or successes, what's most important to me is our relationship. Whether we're hanging out at home, throwing the ball to the dog, in a hot tub, trying to figure out the exact tune to Script Ohio and when the sousaphone player dots the I, or just writing silly clues for a treasure hunt for Mom to find her gift, the thing I cherish the most is the time we spend together. I love you.
Love you too.
He's a hard act to follow. Right?
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I want to thank everyone for attending, whether you're here in the room or you're attending virtually. We feel the love that's bouncing around the universe. And if you're a child, a kid that's friends with Parker, we're hoping that next year we can do a party just for you. Let's hope. Parker, I've thought about what I would say to you at this moment long before this year, before we even set your bar mitzvah in 2017. And that's because I've always wanted to share with you what I think of you, so that you understand that I'm very proud of the person that you are. And although I've thought about this moment so many times, I never thought that it could possibly look like this. The pandemic has taken many things from us and has hurt many people, but it has given me some things that I learned through the time that we got to spend together. So I wanted to recap a little bit of our time the last few months. When it was clear you would not get to go to summer camp this year, most kids took off and bummed around, but not you. You signed up for 2 classes at school. One of them was a legal skills class, and you and I wrote your first, but definitely not your last, opening statement together. When you went back to school, we were able to do a number of other things, like we got to read 7th grade books together, we diagrammed sentences, we baked cakes together, we learned to train a dog together, we rooted for the Heat in the finals together, even though we would have done that anyway. We talked about politics, we watched debates, real ones and ones on Saturday Night Live, and we generally had so much more time than we normally do. And in fact, with regard to politics, I didn't talk to anyone about election returns more than I did you. And when in fact the election was called, you were at a friend's bar mitzvah service, and I texted you. You were the first person I let know who had won the election. We were able to share a special experience and meet a Holocaust survivor by the name of Alan Hall, and he shared with us what it was like to endure a life of suffering, but to come out with an optimism and a full and generous heart. And that experience gave us a lot of information, more information about Jewish history that makes this all the more meaningful, this experience today. And all of this is to say that although the pandemic has been so bad, what it did is gave me time to get to know you even more, to know what makes you tick, what stirs your heart, what brings you joy, how you solve difficult problems, and we would never have been able to do that with all the running around that all of us do. Parker, you need to know that I think you are really, really special. But special in what way? Because that word gets thrown around a bit, and in the words of my favorite superhero, Mr. Incredible, when everyone is special,
That's just another way of saying that nobody is. So the way you are special matters, and I want to tell you the way you're special. The first word that comes to mind is optimism, and your dad kind of touched on this. You are always up for anything. You encourage your friends to do well. You always stick up for yourself and for others, and if someone's doing the wrong thing, you're there to step in. Even when I told you in May that I didn't think we would be able to have a party, you said, we'll do it later, we won't do it at all. Or even better, you can just get me what I really want, a massage chair for my room.
Yeah, it's true.
Which may happen, who knows?
It's all true.
You have always been the happiest kid. You ran off to sleepaway camp and didn't look back. You told me everything was amazing, even the food. And let me tell you, I tasted that food on visiting day. That is not amazing. But you're that way with everything. You love the alma mater, you love the traditions, and just like that, in middle school, you are the most spirited Spartan I know, whether it's cheering for baseball, your baseball team, your basketball team. You literally are the most spirited person I've ever met. And the second word that comes to mind is adaptable. Let's start with remote school, which for everyone but you was a complete nightmare. Only you found a way to attend every day and make your teachers happy because you actually participated. You made your middle school basketball team having never played on an organized team before. And one of your coaches came up to me during tryouts and said, has this kid ever played actual basketball or just in his backyard? But you took what you learned and you adapted, and that was what made you so successful in taking the shot that Daddy mentioned. Again, you went off to sleepaway camp with not even a look back, and this is what I want you to know. People often tell me that you remind them of me, but you are so much more adaptable at your age than I was, and I really admire you for that. Now, if I could impart any bit of wisdom to you, it's this. Don't stop being optimistic, and don't give up being willing to try new things. Continue to be adaptable, because as you can see, the world will throw some crazy stuff at you, and it's people like you, people who are adaptable, who not only succeed, but they lead the way for others. Be the person you are, knowing right from wrong. Always root for the underdog, unless they're the University of Indiana, or whoever played Ohio State today, the Indiana Hoosiers. Even if they're the underdog, you don't root for them. But otherwise, root for the underdog. Today is just one of the many days you have made me and will continue to make me so proud, and I love you very, very much.
You can play.
Okay. All right, Eli.
Eli, you're up, buddy.
Wait.
Speak clearly. Speak clearly. Parker, believe it or not, I'm really glad you're my brother, and there are a lot of reasons why. First, I'm grateful that you help me make my life fun and interesting. When I'm sitting around in the house, you're usually able to get me to go outside and throw around a football or play basketball with you. And when I do that, I'm much happier. You also invent fun games to play, like when we're in the pool, you come up with American Ninja Warrior obstacle courses for us to do to make being in the pool more fun. You also invent indoor baseball games, and when we don't get in trouble for breaking things in the house, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. That happens most of the time.
Also, I really like to watch TV, and it's a lot better if you're there with me. We watch a lot of Heat games and Marlins games together. We also watch Adam Sandler movies and a lot of comedy specials. When I don't understand what's going on, it's good to have you there to explain what the jokes mean.
Yeah.
Another thing I admire about you is that you're very convincing. During the quarantine, you were able to convince Mom and Dad to get us a dog, and now we have a great puppy, Charlie. Also, one summer when we were at UN baseball camp, and I didn't know the kids my age and really wanted to be with the older kids there that I knew, you helped convince the coach that I was a good enough player to be with the older kids, and he let me stay in your group. That made me feel much more comfortable. This also showed me that you really do care about me and may even help me convince to go to sleepaway camp, although I'm not promising anything at this point. So Parker, like Mom tells us, you're the only brother I have, and I'm lucky to have you. Good luck today. I love you.
We turn to page 226 and rise for the Amidah.
Adonai, Sifatai Tifta.
Wait. Test. Is this on, please? It's on. Test 1, 2. Can you turn this up, please?
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot, Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo, Be'ahava, Melech Hozer Umoshia Umagin. Baruch atah Adonai Magin Abraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך ממיד ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We remain standing for the kid who shot on page 232.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips.
Right. We continue with the Kiddushat Hayom on page 234. Ata echad v'shimcha echad umi ke'amecha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. You are one and your name is one, and there is none like your people Israel, a people unique on earth. A garland of glory have you given us, a crown of salvation, a day of rest and holiness. Abraham and Sarah rejoiced it. Isaac and Rebekah sang. Jacob and Rachel and Leah and their children were refreshed by its rest. A rest of love freely given, a rest of truth and faithfulness, a rest of peace and serenity, tranquility and security, a perfect rest which you so desire. May your children come to know that this sacred rest links them to you, and through their rest they sanctify your name. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu ritzei v'nuchatenu. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. We continue with the Ritzei prayer on pages 236 and 237. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael, utfilatam be'ahadva tekabel, uti leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadecha be'yirah na'avod. We continue with the prayer of gratitude. Modim anachnu lach, on the top of page 238. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu leolam va'ed. Tzur chayenu ma'agen yishenu ata hu ledor vador. Nodeh lecha unsaper tehilatecha al chayenu hamesurim beyadecha. Ve'al nishmutenu hapekudot lach. Ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu. Ve'al nifleotecha v'tovotecha shebechol et erev vavoker v'zochoraim. Hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha והאמרכם כי לא תמו חסדיך. מעולם קיווינו לך, ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. וכל החיים יודוך סלע, ויהללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. We sing together a prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, page 240.
No service is complete without a Birkat Shalom, a prayer for peace. Peace for our country, for Eretz Yisrael, and the world over. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Lechol hashalom, shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol ed ubechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam. We take a few moments for the prayers of our hearts. Parker, it's my pleasure to be here with you, to witness this very special moment with you. I know I alluded to this a little bit the other day when I said that this Torah portion is very special. We talked a little bit about the portion. We talked about how you love the dream scene and lots of things, but because there's so much rich text in this portion, and we both share a love for it. You, of course, because it's your bar mitzvah portion. And actually, 13 years ago this weekend, I actually became a cantor. So this was my portion when I became a cantor, so it's very special to me as well. And I just want to say, of course, I'm so blown away by your talent, and I really think that we have another shining rising star here for our High Holy Day experience. which will be wonderful. And you are, I think, the second student I've had in my 10 years here at Temple Beth Shalom that learned your entire portion only learning and mastering the ancient notation of cantillation. He used no recordings, and that's really an incredible feat to have learned his aliyot that way. So I commend you for that. Maybe he'll take my place one day. That would be nice. Okay, so one specific thing about your portion in your Aliyah 3, my favorite line of the whole one, that reads, Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazev anochi lo yadati. Surely, he wakes up and he says, right? Surely God is in this place, but I didn't know it. And I can tell you that I know that God is in this place when we see and hear you singing like that and leading us. When I look at the faces of your parents and your grandparents and your relatives and their kvelling, and thinking about how special Temple Beth Shalom has been, and everything that they've handed down to you, I know that God is truly, surely in this space. So I want to sing a piece about your Torah portion that is called In This Place. I was weary, I was tired, so I rested for the night. A stone for my pillow, the moon and stars for light. I saw angels on a ladder, from above and from below. God was in this place, and I did not know. God was in this place, and I did not know. I was chasing after rainbows, I was far away from home, thinking of my family, so hard to be alone. I was wrestling with feelings I was trying not to show. God was in this place, and I did not know. God was in this place, and I did not know. There is a ladder to the heavens. You must climb it if you can. You can do it if you dream it, if you open up your hand. We are on this road together. We are traveling somewhere. We are all in need of comfort. We can use some loving care. I can still hear Jacob calling from the Torah long ago. God was in this place, and I did not know. God was in this place, and I did not know.
Beautiful, beautiful. We continue now with the Seder Kriyat Torah L'Shabbat, the service for the reading of Torah on this Shabbat afternoon. And in a few moments, Parker will be sharing some words of Torah, Devar Torah, a message with us, as well as I said before, reading from the Torah and the Haftarah, and as the cantor said, without having memorized it from a tape like most of us did when we were younger, he actually learned the trope, and which is really a remarkable, it's another language. It's really amazing. So we continue on page 244. There is none like you among the gods, Adonai, and there are no deeds like yours. You are sovereign over all worlds, and your dominion is in all generations. Adonai reigns, Adonai has reigned. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Adonai will give strength to our people. Adonai will bless our people with peace.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udevar Adonai Merushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amu Yisrael B'Kdushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai iti Uneromema Shemo Yachdav.
Pele Daniel, this is the Torah. In it is found the wisdom of our people from Mount Sinai until this moment. It has been passed down through the generations, not because it's an important book, but because of what's found in this important book. And that wisdom is only revealed as we study it and then transform it from the messages into deeds through our hearts and our hands. This Torah is being passed to you today, physically and metaphorically, and the hope by your parents and your grandparents and the generations that came before you is that you will take this Torah into your heart, into your life, and then will pass it on to the next generation. And so to reenact this passing of the Torah all the way from Moses down through the generations, we invite your grandparents and your parents to come up and to pass the Torah to you on this Shabbat day of your becoming a bar mitzvah.
We are gifts and we are blessing. We are history in a song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. Ledor vador nagid God lecha. Ledor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Ledor vador, nagid God lecha. Ledor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagehora v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Kol bashamayim uvaretz, ki kol bashamayim uvaretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha tamid naseh lechol lerosh. You may be seated. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And good afternoon, everyone that's actually here and everyone who is on the Zoom. For those of you watching the live stream on the Zoom or on the live stream, I'm truly sorry you could actually not be here in person, so I'm very, very appreciative that you actually could be watching online. I'm very excited to become a bar mitzvah today, and I'm very glad that you all out there get to watch it happen. Over the past few months, I have been learning Torah, and my Torah portion is called Vayetze. My portion is from the first of 5 books of Torah, which is Genesis, or in Hebrew, it's Breshit. This Torah portion starts right after Jacob deceives his brother Esau and his dad Isaac by taking the inheritance. After that, Jacob fears that everyone found out of his wrongdoing and decides to run away. That night, Jacob sleeps on a stone and dreams of angels going up and down a ladder to heaven. Once Jacob wakes up, he goes to find a place to have food, water, and shelter, and while doing so, he finds love with Rachel. Rachel's father, Laban, said that Jacob had to work for him for 7 years just to marry Rachel. At the wedding, Laban deceives Jacob and makes Jacob marry Rachel's sister, Leah. Laban tells Jacob that he can have Rachel if he works for 7 more years. One specific event that's very important to me is when Jacob lies on that stone and has that dream about the angels going up and down that ladder to heaven. What it symbolizes is the difficulties Jacob was having. Stones are very, very hard, and Jacob was dealing with a hard dilemma. He's having lots of difficulties from deceiving his brother and his father. He then was deceived himself when he married the wrong sister. What I learned from this is that karma is real, but not just any type of karma from God. God rewards you, but he will also make you pay the price for your wrongdoings. A bar mitzvah is a very special time for a Jewish kid. It means to me that I'm becoming a young man. There are many things that you must do to become a bar mitzvah, and I feel I have done them. I'm doing them right now, or I'm going to do them in the future. What I've done in the past to become a bar mitzvah is to grow and take on new responsibilities. For example, I recently got a new dog, and I'm learning to take care of her and make her happy. Besides doing the ceremony right now to become a bar mitzvah, I'm trying to handle school and homework as well. I'm also learning about Jewish history by participating in a program with a Holocaust survivor, Alan Hall, as my mom mentioned, who told me his story and about how he survived the devastating Holocaust. Alan survived the war by hiding in various places where he could have been discovered. Luckily for him, Alan had the help of many generous non-Jewish people who protected his Jewish identity. When we met in person, Alan told me that he was scared because there have been recent instances of anti-Semitism all over the country that reminded him of what happened when he was young. He said that he was actually considering moving to another country. What stands out to me is that while there have always been times of anti-Semitism, there have also always been good people that rise up to support the Jews. This helps me understand more about my Jewish past, and it also helps me understand way more about my own country. In the future, as I become a man, I feel I will be more mature and take on the lessons I learned from Jacob and from Alan to try to make good decisions that will bring me good decisions in my life that will bring me good karma throughout my life. I've had a lot of help making this bar mitzvah the best it can be. I'll begin with Mora Malka, who taught me in 4th grade. She never gave up on me, telling me that even though I did not do well on my Hebrew test, she still had hope for me. Thank you, Mason and Barb, who run JLab. You guys have helped me actually learn the Hebrew and songs that I use today. I really appreciate Kenner Siegel for running all the songs for me, including a special version of the Lador Vador, which I sang earlier. Rabbi Davis, you are a really, really special person in my family because you are not only overseeing me become a bar mitzvah, you also officiated my parents' wedding ceremony a long time ago, and a hint, it's over 13 years ago. Special thanks to Kenner Nicholson for teaching me my prayers and even pushing me to try more difficult Torah cantillations. I'm lucky to have 4 wonderful grandparents. Mimi, thank you for your baking tips and your music tips. They're always the best. I'll always remember our time in New York City and how you laughed at our jokes, even when they were about you. Papa Jack, I love you and your funny impersonations. The best ones are by the politicians. Nana and Papa, you are always nice to me, even when I'm at my worst. Nana, you guys lead the family in rooting for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Nana, your matzo ball soup is the best, and Papa, your Papa jokes are even better. Eli, I'm really, really grateful that you're my brother. We play a lot of basketball, MLB The Show, and we both yell at the TV together when the refs make bad calls for the Miami Heat and the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's important. I will always love you, and I'm so glad that you are my brother. You're my only one, and I will always love you for the rest of my life. By the way, those were good times. Dad, you're one of the best humans in my life. You make me laugh all the time. You love Ohio State, and you taught me how to play all the sports I love. Whenever I have a problem, you help me figure out what to do, especially when it comes to math, which Mom cannot do. But seriously, and finally, I would like to thank my mom. Mom, you cook me my favorite meals almost every night, and I know if you were on one of those cooking shows we watch, you'd definitely win first place. You spent countless nights and weekends taking me to baseball games and cheering me on, and signed me up for all of the activities that you know I love, especially chess, which I've gotten so much better at over the years, all because you paid it for me. You encouraged me to try new things and take new chances, like going to sleepaway camp, which is now my favorite thing in the world. Overall, you've guided me to be the best person I can be, and for that, I cannot thank you enough. I love you, Mom. Thank you, everyone, for being here with me on this special day. Shabbat Shalom.
Taken down. Just take that.
You'll find underneath your chairs or maybe near you in the aisle a Chumash if you wish to follow along in the Torah reading. Pele Daniel's going to begin on page 195. It's chapter 28, verse number 10. And so now we ask Parker to call up his aliyot.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah harishona. For the first aliyah, I would like to call up my grandparents, Dina and Steve Zaron, to the Torah.
Yes, but not. Ready? Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamivarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher nochar banu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayetze Yaakov mi be'er shava vayelech harana vayifka bamakom vayalen sham kiva hashemesh vayikach me'avnei hamakom vayasem mira'ashotav vayishkav bamakom hahu vayachalom vehine sulam mutzav artzav veroshov magia hashamayma vehine malachei Elohim olim veyoredim bo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu et Torah emet v'chayei olam notav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
What did he say? Great job.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah hashniya. For the second aliyah, I would like to call up my grandparents, Joanne and Jack Schultz, to the Torah.
And we're continuing on verse 13, same page 195.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch
Baruch
Adonai,
Adonai hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai V'amrach, Mivorach la'am v'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher berchmanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lahu et toratu, Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Amen. Vehine Adonai nitzav alav. Vayomar ani Adonai Elohei Avraham Avicha Ve'Elohei Yitzchak Haaretz asher ata shochev aleha lecha etenena uzareha. V'haya zar'acha ka'afar ha'aret ufaratta yama v'kedma v'tzafona v'negba v'nivrechu becha kol mishpehot ha'adama uvzarecha. Vehine anochi imach ushmarticha v'chol asher telech v'hashivoticha el ha'adama hazot ki lo e'ezovcha ad asher imasiti et asher dibarti lach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei alam natu bato chaynu, Baruch atah Adonai naton haTorah.
Amen. Amen.
Read him. Brilliant job. I can't believe you're doing that.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah ha'shlishit. For the third aliyah, I'd like to call up my aunt and uncle, Amy and Keith Aqua, my cousins Ben and Adam Aqua, and Jacob from Zoom, my uncle Craig Zaron, and my cousin Ella Zaron from Zoom to the Torah. Oh, and Jasmine. My bad. I'm sorry.
We're still on page 195. It's still chapter 28, verse number 16.
Oh, yeah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayikat Yaakov Mishena Tov Vayomer Achen Yesh Adonai Bamakom Hazeh Ve'anochi Lo Yadati Vayira Vayomar Manora Hamakom Hazeh Ein zeh ki in beit Elohim v'zeh sha'ar hashamayim vayashkem Yaakov baboker vayikach et ha'even asher sam mera'ashotav vayasem ota matzeva vayitzok shemen al rosha.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natav v'tohenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah harvi'it. For the fourth aliyah, I would like to call up my aunt and uncle, Melissa and Brian Schultz, my cousin Ben and Kira Schultz, and my aunt and uncle, Alyssa and Andrew Schultz, to the Torah.
We're on page 196, chapter 28, beginning with verse 19.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen. Vayikra et shem hamakom hahu Beit El ve'ulam lu shem ha'ir larishona. Vayidar Yaakov neder lemor im yeh Elohim imadi ushmarani vaderech hazeh asher anochi holech benatan li lechem le'echol uveged lilbosh veshavti veshalom el beit Avi v'haya Adonai li le'Elohim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Good job, buddy. You did great.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah ha'chamishit. Avi Avraham Shmuel, Yeshaya Yosef Vedena Fagel. Imi Chava Sarah Vat. Yaakov Veyetis Lieber. For the fifth aliyah, I would like to call up my parents, Erica and Andrew Zaron, and my little brother Eli Zaron, to the Torah.
And we're on verse 22.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen. Ve'ha'even hazot asher samti matzeva yeh beit el Elohim, v'chol asher titen li aserenu lach. Vayisa Yaakov raglav, vayelech arza v'nei kedem, vayar v'hinei be'er basadeh, v'hinei sham shelosha ed reitzon rovetzim aleha, ki min ha'be'er hahu yoshkuv ha'adarim, ve'ha'even gedola al pi ha'be'er.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Beautiful. The maftir, the additional aliyah, is reserved specifically for our bar mitzvah, and he's going to be reading that aliyah, the maftir, out of our Sephardic silver Torah, which is in the ark. And so I'll ask you to please rise so that we can all see and participate as as our bar mitzvah is being called up for his aliyah.
Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Habachur bar hamitzvah v'aliyat haTorah, Pele Daniel, Ben Avraham Shmuel v'Chava Sarah, Chazak, Chazak.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayash came Lavan baboker, Vaynashek levanav, v'livnotav, Vayvarech etem, Vayelech, Vayashav Lavan limkomo, Vayakov halach ledarko, Vayifgeuvo malachei Elohim, Vayomer Yaakov ka'asher ra'am machanei Elohim ze vayikra shem hamakom hahu machanayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tochinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Thank you.
Please be seated.
Yeah, we don't need that. Let's just put it here. This is going to be near centered with the camera. Okay, let's find HB1. Okay, so let me just say that.
Our Haftarah for Shabbat Vayetze can be found on page 214. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratzah b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vayivra Yaakov sedeh aram, Vayavod Yisrael be'isha uvisha shamar, uvnavi he'ela Adonai et Yisrael mimitzrayim, uvnavi nishmar. Hichis Ephraim tamurim, V'reyach v'damav alav yitosh, v'cher patov yashiv lo Adonav. Our Haftarah continued towards the end on chapter 14, verse Yelehu yonekotav vihi chazayit hodov vereach lo kalevanon. Yashuvu yoshevei betzilo yechayu dagan veifrehu chagafen zigro keye levanon. Ephraim maliod la'atzabim aniti va'ashurenu ani kivrosh ra'anan mimeni peryechanim sa mi chacham ve'yaven eila navon ve'yedaem ki yesharim darchei Adonai v'tzadikim yelechu vam ufosheim yikashelu vam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzur kol ha'olamim sadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber kayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod utifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach Umvarechim otach yitbarach shimcha bevi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Beautiful. Yesher Koach. Mazel tov, yeah? Beautiful. Come stand over here. So it's now my pleasure to share some blessing. Yes, you can breathe now. You deserve a lot of breath, really. What you did was just remarkable. To learn not just one, but two different forms of trope. The trope for the cantillation for the Torah and the cantillation for the Haftarah are completely different. You learned them both. You learned Hebrew, that's one language. The trope for the Haftarah, that's the second language. The trope for the Torah, that's the third language. It's really remarkable. And you did it so beautifully with such composure. We are all incredibly proud of you, but you should be proud of yourself because your mother and your father and your grandparents and your brother, they didn't do this. You did this. And that in many ways is really what it means to become an adult when you become responsible for your own behavior and you do what you need to do for your life. It has certainly been a pleasure to be part of your life and to be able to see you on Zoom during these past few months, and now to be able to be here in person with you is wonderful. As you said, I had the privilege of being at your parents' wedding, yes, more than 13 years ago. They're here. They decided to come today. I had the privilege of being at your parents' wedding and helping to marry them. I have the privilege, or at least I used to, frequently on Thursdays to do yoga with your grandmother. Yeah, grandma does yoga, yeah. And I also had the privilege of being at your naming 13 years ago and helping to choose your name, Pele. It's an unusual name. It's not one that I'd ever chosen before, and I do remember I had a brief conversation with your mother before the service today to see if I could remember exactly how we chose the name. I know that I referenced the soccer player, but that's not why we chose the name. We chose the name because your parents were in wonder about you. They were so amazed with the idea of Parker, of you becoming who you are, even back then. And your name Pele means wonder, amazement, interesting, beautiful, miraculous. Those were their dreams that they have for you. And now as you're becoming an adult, those dreams shift from their domain to your domain. You have to figure out what your own dreams for yourself are. And when it comes to a name, we're told by the text that we get 3 names in our life. The name our parents give us, the nicknames people come to call us, the second one, and the third one is called our Shem Tov. It means our good name, our reputation. And we get that through a little bit about what you talked about in your service. You talked about good karma. We get good karma, and I'm not sure how much I personally believe in karma, but we get good stuff when we do good stuff. And that, our tradition tells us, is how we get the most important name we're ever going to have, that Shem Tov, when we live our lives with integrity, with fullness, and we actualize the gift that's been given to us as a human being. You are already doing that. It is so clear that you take your life seriously. Not that you're without joy, because you have a lot of joy. You have an amazing sense of humor. But you understand that this soul that's been given to you is precious, and that you're going to do something with it. We don't know what it's going to be, but we know it's going to be good for the Jewish people, it's going to be good for the Zaron family, and for your extended family, but it's especially going to be good for you. So it is now my pleasure to bless you in the same way that I did 13 years ago at your baby naming, in the same way that I blessed your parents at their wedding with these words of our ancients. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Yer Adonai panav elecha v'yichanecha. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always lift you up, and may you be filled with the blessing of shalom, the blessing of wholeness and peace. And we say together, Amen. And now gently shower him with your sweetness.
Simin tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, simin tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, Yelanu. Simin tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, a mazel tov, a simin tov, Yelanu. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
And now I'll ask you to please rise as we're going to return the Torah to the ark. We're going to address the Torah, and we're going to be praying the Elenu, which is found on page 282. So give us just a moment here.
Elenu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol עונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We remain standing for a few moments as we think about all those who came before us that may have died in years past at this season, and those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, we remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Shoah. We remember all those who died making sure our homeland exists for us and for Jews everywhere. Remember all the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, virus, disease, and natural disaster. And remember those who perished in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. And on this Shabbat, this day of Parker's becoming bar mitzvah, we also especially remember Essie and Benson Krause, Lydia and Danny Schultz, Evelyn and Sid Zaron, Pearl and Mendel Schlosser. We take a few quiet moments to remember each in our own way. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of all the righteous be a blessing, as we recite words of Kaddish found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'rechu le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all of you who mourn, comfort all who are bereaved, and send healing to all who are saddened, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. We got to have a few presentations. You're going to stay right here. So, Pele, to celebrate this wonderful moment with you, thank you, Cantor. We have a few presentations on behalf of the community, on behalf of the congregation. The first one is the testimony in the court of law, your bar mitzvah certificate. Absolutely, you did it right there, and you did it. No one else did it. Yep, it's got your name on it and everything. We hope that you will go to Israel with members of your class, typically in the summer after 10th grade. We hope you'll go to Israel, and there are two certificates here should you decide to go to the National Federation of Temple Youth in Israel program or the Alexander Muss High School in Israel program. We have two certificates for you there. You're welcome. Thank you for thanking us. In addition, we have a certificate showing you that a tree has been planted in the land of Israel on behalf of the clergy and the staff of the temple. We have planted a tree in your honor. That is the exact tree. You go look for it when you go there. Yeah, that was a good one, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, I might.
Go ahead.
I might.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and put that right down here. We have a Kiddush cup wrapped in our new Temple Beth Shalom wrapping paper. Love the wrapping paper. Love the Kiddush cup. And in it is this cup so you can celebrate Shabbat and other sacred moments by remembering to have sweetness And you are someone that I don't think we're going to have to remind. You have the ability to find that sweetness in the universe. So that's there. And in addition, so that you can continue to practice Torah and Haftarah, not just the trope and that cantillation, the beautiful music you made, but also so you can continue to learn the lessons and wisdom of our people. And this is the entire Hebrew Bible, and you can take this with you wherever you go. Yes, wow, exactly. It's an amazing thing. And so now we're going to conclude our celebration with Havdalah. And Cantor, how are we going to, we're going to invite everyone to come up here. We're going to invite the immediate family to come up, and everyone else is going to stand. Thank you for staying safe and staying in your place. We're going to invite the immediate family. Come on up. Parker, you're going to come on over here, and we're going to make Havdalah together.
Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri borei peri hagafen ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 la
And we wish each other a Shavua Tov, a good week, and a week of peace.
Shavua Tov, 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 a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign.
Shavua Tov, everyone. A good week, a week of peace, and may gladness reign and joy increase. And Mazel Tov.